Hey guys, welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Andre Seegers, and this time we're joined by Derek Bittner and Ash Paulson to discuss everything about the new Mario Maker trailer. So let's get started. Alright guys, so not too long ago, Nintendo showed off a brand new trailer for Mario Maker, and it showed some really awesome things. Like, it's truly impressive how much it's improved since E3. We normally post these discussions right away, but wanted to hold off a little bit until we got our analysis up, because we found some pretty cool details that aren't super obvious in the trailer itself. So yeah, let's go and start off with our quick impressions of the game. So what did you guys think of it?
You know, when I first saw it, even playing it a little bit at E3, I don't have the creativity to make to do level makers or anything like that. I enjoyed Little Big Planet, couldn't get into the level creation aspect of it. There's a whole create your own stages in Smash, can't get into it at all. So I had pretty much the same reaction to Mario Maker. It was like, oh, that's cool for people who enjoy this, but it's not really for me. But seeing the ease of use for it, and also just how much more depth has been given to the creation aspect of this game, as well as all the other games, I am finding myself to become a little bit more excited for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Derek. I'm not creative at all in that sense. I don't like creating levels. I'm a huge fan of Soundshape, for example, and I think it's one of the coolest kind of user created content games there is out there. But I never make my own levels because I'm just not. I don't know. It's just not my thing. I love playing the levels that other people create, and that hasn't really changed with Mario Maker. I mean, I think it looks a lot more interesting than it did at E3, but I'm still probably not going to buy it to create my own levels. So I'll probably buy it just to play all the cool stuff other people are creating. But I'm still not feeling that creative spark, even with this new trailer.
No, it's interesting, Derek, because I think, before you did the analysis, you weren't really feeling this game at all. But then, as you were doing it, you were like, I think I'm actually getting a lot more excited for this game, right?
Yeah, pretty much. It was so funny, because I saw a minute of it, was like, okay, that's cool. It's interesting levels. But then you started getting into the mechanics of it and how it's all able to do all this stuff, and you're like, oh, okay, this could be actually a lot of fun. And I've already seen, I was taking a look at some of the comments about, some of the crazy things you could do in there. I know one of the things you enjoyed most at the E3 demo was just stacking the Hammer Brothers to create these, impossible challenges. And people were like, okay, you can change up what the cannons fire, you can change up what Lakitu throws. Could you have Lakitus who throw Hammer Brothers?
Right.
Or cannons that fire Hammer Brothers, or something like that, and just create these just cruel ideas of what you can do with all these enemies and stuff like that. You could be just downright, sadistic with some of these level designs, I think, and that's the whole point of the whole Kaizo Mario scene. Right. But this is a little bit more official about all that. So that whole aspect is how devious do you want to get, or how close do you want to be to an actual Mario design level? Mm-hmm. Do you want to get in? I don't know. The more I saw of it, it's okay, I'm actually getting some ideas. And it seems simple to use, so I was slowly getting more and more into it.
Yeah, I mean, watching the trailer made me really wish Smash Brothers had a better stage creator. It's why can't they do this in Smash Brothers?
Yeah.
This looks so great here. Just how simple and intuitive it is to use. I mean, again, we played it at E3. It was simple and intuitive there. But now we can see just how powerful it really is. Because they've added so much more. And, one of the things they've added now is, at E3 you can switch between the original Mario theme and the new Super Mario Brothers theme. But now they added two more, being Mario 3 and Mario World. And quick side note, by the way, I was super excited when they showed that off, and it made me really appreciate how much I love the look of those original games as compared to, say, New Super Mario Brothers. So I'm pretty sure I'll just be making purely Mario 3 and Mario World levels. And beyond that, though, at E3, toggling between the two only changed the looks. It didn't change anything else. But here, it seems like it's actually changing the gameplay a bit. Because we can see now in New Super Mario Brothers, you can wall jump and do the butt pound, or, ground pound. And it seems like, in the, you may have some, exclusive features in the other games, like having the Tanuki Leaf in Mario 3, for instance, or even the, end of the level goal changing from a flagpole to being the gold box in Mario 3. So I'm really interested in how that's exactly going to work. Will you be able to create, specific stages, to a theme? Create a level in Mario 3 and lock it to that theme?
That was my favorite part of the whole thing. I was so happy to see Mario 3, and especially Mario World. That's my favorite 2D Mario game pretty much ever.
Yeah, same.
And I'm super excited, to play other people's custom Mario World levels, and also maybe even try my hand at creating a theme myself. I don't have a whole lot of confidence in my level creation skills. But honestly, the different skins are one of the coolest things about the whole game, and I'm still wondering what there could still be. I'm predicting a Super Mario Bros. 2 Japan theme, like Super Mario Bros. Lost Levels, and I'm hoping for Super Mario Bros. 2, not only because I love that game, but also because that could really lead to some interesting things in terms of playable characters. Because if there's a Mario 2 theme, that would tell us that you could play as Mario, Luigi, Toad, or Princess, which in turn would make it very interesting in terms of them updating classic assets for those characters to make them playable. To make them playable in the other themes, like so Mario World, Mario 3, so it's kind of like what we saw in NES Remix, where you could play as Princess Peach from Mario 3.
That would be freaking amazing if they went that far.
Yeah, like it would be, or even Mario 1, like that. I would love that.
It would be really cool. I'm not sure if it's possible yet, though, because we haven't seen exactly any evidence. Because one of the common things we're seeing right now is that most of the assets, even if they create new assets, are supposed to line up with some of the other games. So I'm like you were talking about locking them into a specific game, Andre, so you can get like the charging chucks.
Right.
They appear in Mario World. There is no similar enemy at all in any of the other games.
That's true.
To that. So does that mean Charging Chucks won't appear, or will we actually be able to lock in a game and have the entire slate of enemies and obstacles and power-ups to use in that stage? It's one of the unknowns about this game right now.
I mean, that's a good point. I mean, every enemy we've seen has an equivalent in the other games. So it would seem like Mario 1's still going to be the baseline. With a few additional features built around that, perhaps. I mean, we do have the Tanuki Leaf here, obviously, so they're not sticking strictly to it. And I do wonder how they're going to work, with that. Like, if you hit a Tanuki Leaf block in Mario 1, what happens?
Well, yeah. I mean, it looks like they are not shy about creating new assets for old games for Mario Maker. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Mario 1 version of Tanuki Mario.
That'd be crazy.
It'd be awesome.
I don't know. Like, I don't think they'll go that far. I don't think you'll be able to fly in Mario 1. That just, I don't know. It seems too weird to me.
Well, Goombas can fly in Mario 1, so if Goombas can, why not Mario himself?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. It's it's so odd because there's you can imagine all this potential and all these things you want, but one of the coolest features about the game, the whole quickly swapping between different game assets, also kind of feels like the limiting factor of this whole creation aspect. But not that that's a bad thing at all. I mean, there's still a lot that you can do with it, as we've seen. And the mixing and matching aspect, I think, is probably one of the best parts of this creator. Like, as we said before, sticking whatever you want into the cannons to fire whatever. And we've even seen variations of that where the enemies take on completely new properties, such as giant bloopers, which were never in Mario World, and also that the Koopa Troopa shell going through the solid blocks,
right?
When it should have just bounced off. So clearly, there's something more to these creations.
I was kind of wondering maybe what the music selections will be for our levels that we create. Will we be locked into what song would normally have played in the original game, or will we be able to select from various remixes? I'm kind of wondering how far they're going to go with the music in Mario Maker.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, in the trailer, it did seem like the music was still, it did seem like it was thematic, it was based thematically on the theme you chose, perhaps.
Right.
So I don't know though. Yeah, will you be able to choose different, themes? I know there's multiple athletic themes typically, right?
Right.
So will you be able to choose between those? I did like one feature they talked about in a recent interview. I think maybe on IGN. Is that when you switch between edit mode and actually playing the game, there are some subtle changes in the music to both make it less tedious as you're editing a stage, but also just kind of enhance the mode you're in, which I think is really cool. Something Nintendo's always pretty much nailed, right?
That's a very Nintendo touch.
It is. It really is.
One thing I am hoping for is you see this in Sound Shapes, where the user created all the user created levels where you go to download them. They're usually tiered into different themes or difficulty levels, and I hope that Nintendo does that with Mario Maker, because a lot of people for games like this, they just love to create tough as nails, almost unfairly hard levels, which can be fun. That's great, but I hope those have their own section along with levels that are maybe considered to be a little more along the traditional level of Mario difficulty. So we can go and download levels. They're just fun to play, as opposed to all these, super, super, super hard, perfect run levels, which, yeah, they can be fun, but aren't necessarily the most inviting levels to play over and over again.
Right, yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, well, they haven't even talked at all about online or even confirmed it's a thing. Whereas, I mean, I feel like it has to be, though. This game is going to depend so much on the online community. So I really do hope that A, it has online, and B, it is, it's structured well. As you mentioned, Ash, a huge part of this is going to be able to find levels that, play well, or the type of levels you want to play. So yeah, I don't know how they're gonna organize that exactly, but
this is a game that lives and breathes by the community, and if there is no community features in this game, there's going to be some problems. I don't think it'll sell nearly as well because I don't know. It's not nearly as fun to make a stage and then play it yourself, or have your friends come over and play it. To have it online and to have people rate it and comment on it and that sort of thing would be a lot more gratifying. To see somebody enjoy your creations, or even like have a tally of how many times it's been downloaded or played. I think some of the other level creation games out there have done similar things to it. So it could be some really cool stuff out there. And going along that, one of the things we brought up in the analysis is the idea that what if we can create our entire worlds in this creator, or even entire games, where you have each one connecting to the next, and you got to along your own world map and do all that. I mean, we brought it up as a possibility, but do we think that it is actually possible?
I mean, as soon as I saw that gold box and thought of that possibility, I feel like it has to be in this game. I feel like almost going online and downloading individual levels might get a little bit tedious. You download a level, you play it, and get through in a minute or two, and you're done. I mean, it's going to depend on how hard the level is, of course. I want full Mario adventures. That would be amazing. It would be such a simple thing for them to add, depending on how deep they go with it. But it would be so simple to set up a playlist, to just choose your levels you've already built, and then just order them however you want. And then you can play through them in that order. Now, if Nintendo wanted to build on that even further, they could actually add, it'd be awesome to add a world map feature. Like a simple world map, either already pre-built or maybe one you can modify a bit, where you then set your stages on that. I don't know if they'd go that far, but at the least, I would love for a playlist feature where you can essentially build your own ordered series of Mario levels, much like in Mario 1. That would be amazing, and you could actually build up levels and worlds that lead to something. That ones that build in difficulty, and I just think it'd be an amazing experience. Especially if, what if you could take levels you've already downloaded and add it to your own playlist, basically creating these custom worlds built around creations from other people. I think that'd be amazing.
No, I'm completely down with that idea, and I really like the idea, as you kind of touched on, of downloading quests, whole quests or level packs, where you're not downloading individual levels all the time, but you can download a quest of 3 or 4 levels, or maybe even more, that someone has prepared specifically for that build-up, like you mentioned, Andre. I think that's a great idea. It
would involve you so much more, because Mario levels typically don't take that long to complete.
Right. Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah. I also found myself wondering, we know we can modify the enemies in the game in all sorts of new ways that we've never seen before. I wonder how we can modify Bowser. In terms of both the original Mario and Mario 3, and even Super Mario World. I wonder how we can modify the Bowser fights at all. If we can give him wings, or make him shoot things or throw things other than hammers and fire. I just wonder how you can tweak Bowser.
Well, that brings up an entire good point. Will there be boss battles in this game?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I guess that's not really confirmed. I assumed it was, just because it's Mario. But yeah, I guess it's not. That would be a really weird thing to omit, though.
It's weird, right? I mean, I guess it depends on how they. Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways they could go with this. The thing, the boss fights in later games tended to be more situational. You fought the first boss in Mario World on that tilting platform, and that's basically it. There's really no way you could. I don't know. I guess you could modify that. You could add Lakitus flying around too at the same time. But I do think the idea of the Bowser from Mario 1, there's a lot you could do with him. Because in Mario 1 even, they did a lot with him. Building different things around him, or even having multiple Bowsers in the same level. And they all had different attributes, whether some of them were throwing hammers, Others just jumped and spit fire. Sometimes you had a platform above that would moving platform above that would move around. I think that would. I mean, I feel like Bowser from Mario 1 almost definitely has to be here, especially if you add wings to him, like a flying Bowser throwing hammers.
That'd be so cool,
right?
Yeah. The only thing I want out of that is if there was a Mario 2 skin in the game that Bowser is replaced with Wart, because I've been waiting like how many years now for Wart's return, and he still hasn't. He doesn't even have a trophy in Smash Brothers. I am still waiting for Wart's glorious return.
That would be pretty great, right?
Like, it really would.
Oh, that would be fantastic. I'm with you there.
Well, there's so many bosses they could use from the old games. I mean, they got Bowser, they got the Koopalings, they got Boom Boom, of course, and all his variations and all the things you can do with him there. You got Reznor from Super Mario World. I mean, there's a lot of boss possibilities, but there's also not a lot of like overlap between all these bosses, and that's why I really hope there is an option to sort of lock in to a specific type of game, so you can really create the Mario 3 level that you've always wanted, or the Mario World level that you always wanted. So, like, instead of Reznor out there, you can have, like, all the Koopalings lined up on them, doing all their different things. I mean, that'd be cool.
Oh, I'm totally with you. Like, it'd be really cool if you could just incorporate the bosses maybe into the levels themselves. Like, with Bowser or when the Koopalings just, roaming around to some kind of platform. And I love the idea, again, of locking in the levels to a specific theme. Especially if they go with the ability to, again, build your own world. You could actually have progression from different Mario games to the next. So what if you had like a series of levels in Mario 1, then you move on to Mario 3, then the Mario World? I think that would be so cool. Like, there's so much potential with that idea alone.
Yeah, I agree. And not that I think this will happen, but how would you feel if Mario was able to do some of his newer moves, like the wall jump, in his earlier incarnations? Like you could play Super Mario Brothers 1 levels with the wall jump incorporated. Personally, I think that would be really cool. I don't think it'll happen. But I would love to have the wall jump as part of like the physics and feel of Mario 1 and Mario 3, for example.
So as an option, I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, as an option, of course. Not mandatory at all.
Right, but I don't think it would be, and I don't think they will.
No.
Plus, it's something I wouldn't use, but I'm not necessarily a huge fan of the wall jump in the side-scrolling games.
Oh, see, I love it, but that's also because I'm a Mega Man fan. So
yeah,
Mega Man X is all about wall jumping, so I'm a big fan of that.
I kind of like the instant punishment of the old games, where you miss your jump, you're dead.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think it might look a little bit weird, like especially in Mario 1. How would they even make? I guess you could do it. You could redraw that sprite, but
well, see, that's my point. Is I really like when old assets are updated to like are kind of retroactively updated, like they're doing with Mario 1, like that kind of full body Lakitu.
Right.
When he gets like I love when stuff like that happens. So I think it'd be really cool.
That's a good point, and we do see that a couple times in the trailer, and I do love seeing those assets updated or downdated.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Well, even speaking of that, I mean, that stage itself was really important in the grand scheme of things. I mean, yeah, we confirmed in E3 we could only do point A to point B straight line levels. Now we're seeing that we can also do swimming levels, customization, and also levels that are more than just one screen high. From that Lakitu level where you can actually jump on them and hijack them and all that. That was something that was never in the original Super Mario Brothers, to have levels, that high, going up and down and scrolling and that type of thing. So already we're seeing something new like that. My question is, how far are they going to be able to take this? Will players be able to create their own, for example, auto-scrolling levels?
Oh yeah, didn't think about that.
And can you set the speed and all that stuff? I mean, there's a think about all the different levels we've had in Mario games, and whether or not we'll be able to actually customize them, or if we're going to get the very basic of them and just sort of expand on them in slight ways here and there.
God, there is so much potential here.
Yeah.
I'm also wondering, too, if you'll be able to, as you mentioned in the analysis, now that we know vertical levels are a thing, that gives you a lot more room to play around with. And you touched on the possibility of adding, like, warp pipes that could take you to a different area of the map. And I truly hope that's a thing, because we haven't seen any sign of pipes that can enter yet, and that's such a distinctive part of every side-scrolling Mario game that I feel like it really has to be here. But the fact we haven't seen it yet has me slightly worried.
Oh yeah, I mean, even taking that idea and even just beyond the pipes, the whole fact that we have verticality now to these levels, and we saw in this case going from the top to the bottom. Typically, like in Mario 3 and Mario World, you'd start at the bottom and you could fly your way up and find all these secret places up top, or even fly over the level. I assume by having these vertical levels now, that players will be able to do the same thing. Will they be able to hide secrets up there, and even go beyond that to have secret pipes that lead to other places?
Yeah,
that would be really cool.
Kind of makes me wonder if we'll be able to plant our own beanstalks that go up to bonus stages, like in Mario 1, or and things like that. Like I wonder if we'll be able to do those kinds of bonus stages as well.
Yeah, I mean that'd be awesome. I think the downside perhaps of this new trailer is they showed off so much awesome stuff. I just want more and more awesome stuff.
Yeah,
and I feel like I might be setting myself up for disappointment now. They've impressed me too much that my expectations are so high now.
I really think this is something that maybe we won't get everything in the first round, but if the series does well, we could see maybe some of this stuff implemented in future games.
And I believe they've actually even kind of suggested that. I think they've actually almost said that exactly. Like, if this game does well, it could become a whole series. So I would love to see them, build upon this idea even further. Although at this point, I guess at that point it would just be adding even more objects and, who knows? I guess we don't fully know the limitations of this game yet. But I am super stoked about the possibilities. But what I am even more excited for, if it becomes a series, if it expands beyond Mario. Like, I would love for there to be like a Zelda Maker.
I was thinking the exact same thing, and I've already been thinking about switching between Zelda 1, A Link to the Past, A Link Between Worlds, and like Spirit Tracks.
Or Link's Awakening as well.
And Link's Awakening, yeah. Which actually brings me to a point I was going to mention, which was how cool would it be if there are skins for Super Mario Land and or Super Mario Land 2.
Oh, that's a great point, and those actually would work really well. Like, I think they would actually work better than Mario 2. Like,
they're closer to the classic Mario design. Yeah,
exactly. They actually do play like it. So although don't get me wrong, I would love for there to be a Mario 2 theme. I just think it's unlikely.
Yeah,
but the Game Boy themes make perfect sense,
right?
Especially if they offered a colorized version and maybe a classic black and white version too.
I just want to see the other Marios wearing the bunny hat.
That would be awesome.
No, you're totally right, Andre. I think everybody's had that thought. It's like, okay, if Mario Maker does well, could we see Zelda Maker or
please
Metroid Maker or Kirby Maker?
Oh, a Metroid Maker, that actually is like a perfect middle ground almost between like Zelda and Mario. And something that I think would be, that they literally could almost just use the same engine from Mario Maker for that, I would think. Or the same idea, you know what I mean, the same interface. That would work really well. But for me, Zelda Maker is where it's at. Like, it would be a huge undertaking for anyone to make their own Zelda adventure. It could just be a dungeon maker, really.
Yeah, that's what I think it would end up being. Is mostly just here's a bunch of different dungeons.
Although for me, like I've always said, I'm a huge fan of the overworld, and that's really what I want to do. I want to make my own Zelda overworld. Like I don't need dungeons. I don't need puzzles. Just let me create my own Zelda overworld. You could do some really interesting story based stuff with that alone. If you could input your own custom dialogue, and actually having I would say Mario Maker in a potential Maker series. Like really finally justifies the gamepad. Like this really was made for the gamepad. Like perhaps the one game that best uses it, because it is a really good interface tool for creating custom creation. Especially if you can't input your own dialogue in a Zelda creator, actually just type it in on the gamepad. Although it would actually be a little bit tedious still then too. So
what else would justify the gamepad?
What?
Another game that's referenced in Mario Maker, an update to Mario Paint. Why haven't they done that yet?
Right?
The Undo Dog is right there. And I've been waiting for the Undo Dog to come back. I've been waiting for Mario Paint to come back. That would make perfect use of the gamepad.
That is a great point. And I do love that they are bringing back those Mario Paint interfaces. But you're completely right there. Why haven't we seen that?
No, I really want to see a new Mario Paint game. And the way Mario Maker uses the gamepad just completely legitimizes that idea, in my opinion.
Alright, do you guys have any final thoughts about Mario Maker or anything else we discussed here? Or anything else you want to touch on before we wrap it up?
Just that the more I think about it, the more I really want those Super Mario Land skins in the game. I really hope it happens.
Yep.
I'm still hesitant because, again, I'm not exactly creative when it comes to making levels. But everything that I'm seeing so far makes me feel like I actually could make a pretty fun level for once, which would be really cool. So, yeah, I'm tentatively excited for this, and as we see more, I hope to get even more excited and actually, want to play it and make some interesting things.
Yeah, you bring up a good point there, Derek. Like, it looks a lot of fun to create your own levels, but not everyone's going to be creative. Like, it's just not something that's that easy to do. If everyone can make a good Mario level, there'd be tons of good Mario clones out there, and that's not necessarily the case. But, you know, the interface they give you here is very simple to use. My point is that a huge part of this game, hopefully, is going to be playing other people's levels. Because even if you're not creative, there's so much potential here for other people who are creative to create awesome level designs. So my hope really is that it has a really good online interface that makes it super easy to download levels. And what would be really cool is if, you know, as we touched on earlier, they really do need a good way of sorting these levels. And one way they could maybe work around, you know, work with that is if they get actually, like, track how hard the level is based on how often people die in it. And then you could actually dynamically sort levels based on that difficulty.
That'd be awesome.
That would actually be really cool. And I could see something like that being implemented. I mean, you know, this is 2014, will be 2015 when it comes out. You know, with Nintendo and online, anything can happen. I almost want to say that it won't even come out with online support at launch, just because this is Nintendo we're talking about. But I know it will. But I do feel like that would be something that is easy enough to implement, given, you know, all things considered.
Alright, well, I think that wraps up for us here, so thanks guys for watching. If you liked our discussion, make sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain, which you can find links to in the description below. It's a good way to keep up to date on everything we post, and of course keep an eye on GameXplain.com for more on Mario Maker and other things gaming as well. Alright, thanks guys. Bye.